I want to start by saying something before anything else. I am not speaking about betrayal from a place of having healed it completely. I am speaking about it from inside it, still navigating it, still having hard days with it, while also having spent a lot of time sitting with it, working through it, and developing an understanding of what it asks of us spiritually. I think that position is actually more honest than pretending I'm on the other side of something I'm still walking through. For those of you who don't know me, this month I've been exploring one human experience a day through the lens of acceptance. And when I got to betrayal, 30 seconds wasn't enough, so here we are. Betrayal is one of the deepest wounds a human being can carry, and what makes it so uniquely painful is what it shatters. Not just your relationship with the person who betrayed you, but your trust in people, your sense of safety, your beliefs about how life is supposed to work, about how people are supposed to show up, about what you thought was real. When someone betrays you, especially someone close, someone you built something with, someone you loved, they don't just hurt you, they collapse the version of reality you were living inside of. And that collapse is disorienting in a way that's very hard to describe to someone who hasn't experienced it, because it's not just grief or just anger, it's this profound confusion, like the ground you were standing on was never as solid as you believed, and now you have to figure out how to stand again on ground you can no longer fully trust. Betrayal doesn't come in one form, it comes in many. There is the betrayal of a partner, romantic betrayal, which carries its own specific devastation because it touches intimacy, vulnerability, the parts of yourself you only showed to one person. There is the betrayal of a friendship, someone you trusted with your inner world, your secrets, your realness, and then there is the one that I think cuts the deepest of all, family betrayal. Family is supposed to be the one place where safety is guaranteed, where you are loved unconditionally, protected, and chosen. When that is where the wound comes from, something very foundational gets shaken. Not just trust in a person, but trust in the concept of home, of belonging, of being safe in the world. Then there is a form of betrayal we talk about even less, self-betrayal. Times we betrayed ourselves, or intuition, or own knowing, the moments we felt something was wrong and silenced that feeling to keep the peace. The times we stayed somewhere we knew wasn't right because leaving felt too hard. The times we abandoned our own truth to be accepted, to be loved, to avoid conflict. Self-betrayal is quieter than the others, but it leaves its own mark because deep down some parts of you always knew and you didn't listen. One of the things nobody talks about enough is how betrayal lives in the body long after the event itself. How it shows up in present relationships with people who have done nothing wrong, because something in them triggers the wound and suddenly you're not fully present anymore. You're on guard, you're watching for signs, you're protecting yourself from something that isn't even happening right now. I know this myself. There are moments, especially when someone does something that even slightly echoes the original wound, where something in me contracts, where the need to protect myself activates before my conscious mind has even caught up. The hard thing about that is it can create distance between you and people who genuinely deserve your openness. It can make you smaller in your connections than you actually want to be. That's one of the real costs of unhealed betrayal. Not just the pain of the original wound, but what it does to your capacity to be present, to trust, to remain open in the relationship that come after. In my hard days with this, it looks like revisiting the past, feeling the unfairness of it all over again, giving myself permission to feel everything that comes up, the anger, the grief, the confusion. Sometimes it manifests in how I interact with people, in that hypervigilance, that need to be on guard. And I've had to learn, I'm still learning actually, to distinguish between my wound speaking and reality speaking, between a genuine red flag and a trigger from the past being projected onto the present. That discernment is one of the most important and most difficult things betrayal asks of you. Spiritually, betrayal is one of the most demanding experiences on the path. It asks for forgiveness. I want to be very clear about what forgiveness is and isn't, because I think it gets misunderstood constantly. Forgiveness is not saying what happened was okay. It is not reconciling with the person who hurt you. It is not pretending it didn't affect you. Forgiveness is the decision to stop letting what they did continue to live inside your body, your nervous system, or your future. It is something you do for yourself, not for them. It is a practice you return to again and again, especially on the hard days when the wound resurfaces. Betrayal also asks for compassion, which is perhaps the most twisted request of all. To develop compassion for someone who hurt you deeply. What I've come to understand is that people who betray others are almost always operating from their own wound, their own fear, their own unhealed places. That doesn't excuse what they did, but it does help make sense of it. And making sense of it, even partially, loosens the grip it has on you. And it asks for transformation, because you cannot go through something like this and remain exactly who you were. Betrayal changes you. The only question is only how it changes you, whether it closes you or opens you, whether it hardens you or deepens you, whether it makes you more fearful or ultimately more discerning, more boundaried, more honest about what you will and won't accept in your connections. I want to come back to self-betrayal for a moment, because I think it's the piece that gets the least attention and carries some of the most important healing. Often, not always, but often, when we look honestly at a betrayal we experienced, there were signs, moments when something felt off, where our intuition was whispering something we chose not to hear, where we saw something clearly and explained it away because the alternative, acknowledging it, was too painful or too inconvenient. And I'm not saying this to create blame, I'm saying it because there is enormous power in acknowledging where we betrayed our own knowing. That's the part we actually have agency over. We cannot control what other people do, but we can commit going forward to not abandoning ourselves, to listen to that quiet inner voice before it has to become a wound to get our attention. Accepting betrayal in the deepest sense includes accepting the ways we participated in our own story. The real question that betrayal keeps asking every time it resurfaces, every time it gets triggered, is whether you are willing to stay open, genuinely open, willing to trust life again, trust people again, trust yourself again, because the alternative is kind of a slow closing, an armoring, a decision made quietly over time that the world is not safe and people cannot be trusted, and it is better to keep your heart protected than to risk it again. And I understand that impulse completely. There are days I feel it myself, but that closed place, I've been there enough to know, is lonelier than the wound itself. It keeps you safe from pain, but it also keeps you from everything that makes life worth living, from real connection, from being truly known, from love that reaches you all the way in. The practice, the ongoing, imperfect, some days I manage it and some days I don't practice, is to keep coming back to openness, to keep choosing consciously not to let someone else's darkness become your permanent state. That's what accepting betrayal looks like for me. Not having resolved it, not being on the other side of it, but choosing again and again to remain open anyway. If you're carrying this wound right now, whether it's fresh or old, whether it's loud or quiet, I just want you to know that it's okay to still be in it. It's okay if forgiveness feels far away. It's okay if some days are harder than others. You don't have to be further along than you are. Just keep coming back to yourself. That's where the healing lives. Take care of you.